知道南京今年有多少外资撤离吗？
Do you know how much foreign investment has pulled out of Nanjing this year? Do you know how many people lost their jobs because of it? The situation in Nanjing now is really beyond imagination. Nanjing used to be a strong economic city because of many foreign companies thriving here. But now, these foreign companies are leaving one after another. Some have gone to Vietnam, others moved inland to different provinces. Data shows that more than 20,000 companies in Nanjing have shut down this year. When a foreign company leaves, it means hundreds or even thousands of people lose their jobs. This vlogger used to work near Hexi in Nanjing, where she was doing an internship. Back then, many big and internationally famous companies were there. During rush hours, the streets were packed with people and cars. But now, with foreign companies leaving Nanjing, it really makes you feel sad. This year, it's especially clear. Some industrial parks have far fewer people. The buses and subways in Nanjing are often empty. Many factories are unused or have been torn down. Nearby restaurants are struggling with business. High-end shopping malls are nearly empty, and many physical stores have closed.
Some of the world's largest asset management firms like Blackrock have left. The biggest private equity firm, Vanguard, is also gone. Besides them, sovereign wealth funds from Canada and Norway have pulled out. Well-known foreign companies like Samsung, Apple, Mitsubishi, and Toyota are gradually leaving China, moving their production bases to Southeast Asia and India. Such a large-scale withdrawal of capital is very rare in history.
Recently, due to the trade war between China and the US, even more foreign investment is leaving China. For example, HP, the global computer and printer giant, recently announced two major strategy changes: speeding up moving production out of China and raising prices on some products. This comes as HP lowers its full-year financial forecast. The company says that tariffs last quarter were higher than expected, and slower demand for hardware is the main reason for the cut. The second quarter report showed profit and earnings per share were below expectations. Tariffs and restructuring costs lowered earnings per share by 12 cents. CEO Enrique Lores said tariffs cost more than expected and affected many countries. Since the Trump administration reintroduced high tariffs on Chinese goods, HP's production costs have gone up a lot. Just the increase in tariffs and parts reduced HP's net profit for fiscal year 2025 by about 9.16%. According to the Wall Street Journal, to reduce dependence on China's supply chain, HP has greatly expanded production capacity in Vietnam, Thailand, India, Mexico, and the US. Laura said that by the end of fiscal year 2025, over 90% of products for the North American market will be produced outside of China. At the same time, HP will carry out targeted price increases on some products to handle the pressure from rising tariffs. The company is also strengthening cost control and aims to fully offset the negative impact of tariffs by October 2025. As the US-China trade war heats up, Apple is also speeding up moving its manufacturing out of China and expanding its presence in India. Insiders say Apple plans to have all iPhones sold in the US made in India by the end of 2026. As early as 2025, many iPhone models may start being assembled in India, showing a rapid reshaping of Apple's global supply chain. Apple began shifting its supply chain in 2022 after China's strict COVID lockdowns caused the Foxconn plant to shut down temporarily, greatly reducing iPhone production. The Trump administration's tariffs pushed Apple to speed up moving its production base. Professor Seng Guoxiang from Taiwan's Nanhua University told foreign media that Apple's expansion in India is more than just changing factory locations. It's a global industry rebalance involving geopolitics, supply chain security, cost management, and emerging market strategy. India is becoming an important part of Apple's post-China era, which will have deep effects on Taiwan's electronics supply chain, including companies like Foxconn and Wistron. U.S. tech media, The Information, reports that Apple's long-term goal is to move about half of iPhone production out of China. Professor Ye Yaoyuan from the University of St. Thomas said moving factories out of China is a reasonable step to avoid the worst-case scenario. It's not just tech companies leaving. Liz Picarazzi, CEO of New York trash bin company Citybin, said they can no longer afford production in China. She said no company can absorb the extra tariffs from the trade war, and she plans to move all production lines to Vietnam. Data from China's Ministry of Commerce shows that from January to April 2025, foreign direct investment totaled 320 billion yuan, about $45 billion, down 10.9% year-on-year. This is similar to the 10.8% drop recorded in the first 3 months of this year, showing foreign investment is still leaving China. Since China joined the World Trade Organization in 2001, foreign investment had grown steadily. Between 2002 and 2015, annual foreign direct investment averaged 193 billion US dollars. From 2016 to 2021, it increased to 221.5 billion US dollars per year, reaching a record high of 344 billion US dollars in 2021. Starting in the second quarter of 2022, foreign investment began dropping sharply. That quarter saw just 37.8 billion US dollars in foreign direct investment. In 2023, it plunged further to 51.3 billion US dollars, a 73% year-on-year drop, the lowest since 2003. In 2024, it dropped again to 18.6 billion US dollars, the lowest since statistics began in 1998, a 64% year-on-year decline. Between 2022 and 2024, total foreign investment dropped by more than 90%. According to Zhongxin Jingwei News, from January to April 2025, manufacturing used 84 billion yuan, about 11.7 billion US dollars of foreign investment, while services used 231 billion yuan. This shows that foreign investment is mainly going into the service sector. The government has not released data showing which countries' investments have declined, but Chinese media speculate that the main reason for the drop in foreign direct investment is the decline of US investment in China. The tariff war has also sped up Taiwanese companies leaving mainland China. Recently, ASRock revealed plans to move some of its graphics card and other production out of Shenzhen, China. The company also plans to work with manufacturers in Vietnam and Taiwan, though a full move to other markets may take several years. According to Radio Free Asia, a tech insider in Shenzhen named Mr. Cao said ASRock had already planned to leave China, and tariffs only sped up the process. He said, "This is mainly not because of increased U.S. tariffs. It's more that rising costs became the last straw that broke the camel's back." The cost of doing business in Shenzhen is very high, and many large companies are leaving Shenzhen. The business environment is the biggest cost. ASRock also said during the transition they might absorb some costs and raise prices slightly to reflect cost increases. But because the market is still highly competitive, raising prices is not easy. According to its official website, ASRock was founded in 2002 and mainly focuses on motherboard development and production. Since 2008, it has belonged to Pegatron Corporation. ASRock's headquarters are in Taipei, with branches in Europe, the US, and Japan. Previously, PC Partner, the world's second-largest graphics card maker, moved its headquarters from Hong Kong to Singapore and shifted some graphics card production to Indonesia to avoid U.S. high tariffs. Commentator Guo Ming says China's market economy model is quickly disappearing and being replaced by state-owned enterprises and market monopolies. He believes the survival time for foreign and private companies in China is counting down. China's economy is not a strict market economy. It's a government-led market economy. On the surface, it looks like a market economy, but behind it, there's a hand controlling and directing it. That's why the government does not want state-owned enterprises to disappear completely, and why the market is not fully open. If the Chinese Communist Party does not control the economy's lifeline, it has no source of income. Guo Ming says private companies are also forced to leave mainland China just like foreign companies are. Reuters reports that tariffs added this year have put huge pressure on Chinese suppliers and U.S. companies producing in China. The new tariff measures could become the last straw for many low-end manufacturers. Chen in Dongguan, Guangdong Province, makes Christmas decorations. He said his orders are now only half of what they were last year. He said there's no room left to cut prices, but to keep orders, he sometimes has to lower prices as clients want, even if his company loses money. There's no doubt that facing the tariff war, the wave of Chinese companies leaving China to avoid high tariffs will grow stronger, and foreign investment will leave China faster. Zhang Ming, Deputy Director of the Financial Research Institute at the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences, and Chen Yingmo, researcher at the National Institute of Financial Development, co-authored a report saying that in the coming years, China will face the difficult situation of foreign direct investment, securities investment, and other investments all flowing out at the same time. On Chinese social media, a lot of ads have appeared offering origin washing services. These claim to help small and medium-sized exporters in China send their products to Southeast Asian countries. There, they'll change the declared origin before selling them to the U.S. U.S. economist Davy J. Wong said that under high U.S. tariffs, many Chinese companies are forced to use origin washing to keep their orders and exports. He calls it a gray market survival strategy born from structural pressure. Origin washing is just a surface issue. Behind it is Chinese companies struggling after losing credibility in the global market. The main profit for Chinese exporters comes from Europe and the US. If US-China trade decoupling worsens, China's small and medium exporters will be stuck outside the global supply chain, so they're forced to survive on the edge of the law. These ads for origin washing services on Chinese social media platforms have not been suppressed. This shows that government regulators tacitly allow or even encourage them. In China, any voice not aligned with official propaganda disappears instantly. What you see is what is allowed. This proves these gray market activities are supported behind the scenes. However, more and more Southeast Asian countries are openly refusing to help Chinese companies wash the origins of their products. Davy J. Wong says Malaysia, Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand, and India are all competing with China to become the core of the global supply chain. They want to take market space released from China's World Factory. This means they don't just want to be a transit point for Chinese goods, they want to become real exporting powers, so they're trying hard to meet EU and US rules. Professor Seng Guoxiang says Chinese exporters using origin washing reflects deep systemic pressure and business survival anxiety within the CCP governance system. He said political decisions take priority over economic reality, turning businesses into victims. While foreign companies, Taiwanese firms, and mainland Chinese companies are all leaving China, the CCP leader uses lies to fool foreign businesses. On May 15th, the official website of China's Ministry of Foreign Affairs said General Secretary Xi Jinping recently replied to the head of the China-Denmark Chamber of Commerce. Xi claimed that China has been, is now, and will certainly remain an ideal, safe, and promising investment destination for foreign investors. He said, "Believing in China is believing in tomorrow. Investing in China is investing in the future." Xinhua News Agency said the letter was written to Li Xingmeng, founding president of the China-Denmark Chamber of Commerce, who said he was very pleased. Li had previously written to Xi on behalf of himself and the chamber, saying choosing China is choosing the future. Well-known democracy activist Wang Dan says that Xi Jinping's words sound like a new age sales pitch, full of enthusiasm but empty in meaning. It's like a desperate sales director trying to recruit hesitant investors by painting a big, unrealistic picture. The real question is, where exactly is that tomorrow? Is it a tomorrow built on fake data or on policies that change overnight? The CCP welcomes anyone who invests their money, but the next day they might be investigated thoroughly under the pretext of anti-monopoly or national security. The CCP might even steal your profit model. Let's not forget that Alibaba founder Jack Ma once believed in China, but where is he now? Wang Dan thinks that if European business people really buy into this golden phrase, their investment in the future might only lead to future lessons, lawsuits, or even bankruptcy. Besides Xi Jinping, the Chinese government is also pushing harder to stabilize foreign investment. In February, the Ministry of Commerce and the National Development and Reform Commission announced a 2025 plan to stabilize foreign investment, introducing 20 specific measures like expanding pilot programs in telecom, healthcare, and education. On March 16th, the Ministry of Commerce said this year's effort to stabilize foreign investment should focus on platforms like national economic and technological development zones, service industry pilot zones, and free trade zones to improve the effectiveness of these open platforms. Commentator Wang He believes that given the current situation, the foreign investment outflow is very serious. The government wants to keep foreign investment and must offer something. But from what we see now, the level of openness is limited, so the effect won't be strong. Davy J. Wong also believes that improving open platforms is a response to China's slowing economy and a loss of foreign investment. However, given the current global economic and geopolitical situation, the effect will be limited. Since its establishment, the Shanghai Free Trade Zone has not met expectations in foreign investment scale or attractiveness, especially after the 2018 US-China trade war and 3 years of COVID-19 lockdowns. Similarly, the Hainan Free Trade Port's goals are mostly just a vision. Wang says that many of these open platforms have not achieved expectations because of China's economic slowdown, worsening external environment, and many unfriendly laws and regulations for foreign investors. He said the current international situation poses a challenge to China's economy. Supply chains in Europe and the US are gradually moving away from China to reduce risk. This makes many multinational companies more cautious about investing in mainland China.